Have you ever felt like you're losing your mind in a conversation? Like your own feelings and memories are being twisted against you? This isn't just a simple disagreement. This is psychological manipulation, a subtle but devastating form of control. It rarely attacks you head-on. Instead, it plants seeds of doubt, hides behind innocent-sounding questions, and leaves you feeling confused, anxious, and alone. But what if I told you there's an ancient philosophy, a mental toolkit, that can make you virtually immune to these tactics? Today, we're diving deep into the world of Stoicism to forge a shield against manipulation. We'll expose the most common manipulative questions and show you how to dismantle them, one by one. By the end of this video, you won't just recognize manipulation. You'll have the power to disarm it with the calm, unshakable strength of a Stoic. Let's start with a classic, one you've probably heard before. Why are you so sensitive? This question is a masterclass in manipulation. It's not a genuine inquiry, it's a judgment disguised as a question. The goal is to make you doubt the validity of your own emotions. You feel hurt, angry, or sad, and instead of addressing the cause, the manipulator puts you on trial for feeling that way. They want you to believe that your emotional response is the problem, not their behavior. But a Stoic knows that emotions are not enemies, they are messengers. Your feelings are data, signals from your inner self telling you that something is wrong, that a boundary has been crossed. When someone asks why you're so sensitive, don't apologize for your feelings. Don't try to suppress them. Instead, see them as a compass pointing toward the truth. Your sensitivity isn't a weakness. It's a superpower that alerts you to injustice and disrespect. The Stoic response isn't to become less sensitive, but to become more aware of what your sensitivity is telling you. Now let's look at another insidious tactic, gaslighting. It often comes in the form of a seemingly innocent question. Are you sure that really happened? This is designed to make you question your own sanity. The manipulator wants to rewrite history, to erase their actions from the record by making you doubt your own memory. They might say, "I never said that," or "You're remembering it wrong." Over time, this constant erosion of your reality can be incredibly damaging. You start to think, maybe I am crazy. Maybe I am making things up. This is where the Stoic practice of keeping a journal, or what the Stoics called a hypomnemata, becomes a powerful weapon. Write things down, record the facts. What was said? What happened? When you have a clear, objective record, it's much harder for someone to distort your reality. When they ask, "Are you sure that really happened?" you won't have to rely on a fading memory that they are actively trying to corrupt. You can calmly consult your facts and stand firm in your truth. You're not just remembering, you know. This practice isn't about holding grudges. It's about holding on to your reality. Next up is emotional blackmail, often delivered with the question, "Don't you trust me?" This is a guilt trip, plain and simple. The manipulator is trying to use your desire to be a good, trusting partner, friend, or family member against you. They're shifting the focus from their questionable behavior to your supposed lack of trust. It puts you in a terrible position. If you say you don't trust them, you're the bad guy. If you say you do, you're forced to ignore your gut instinct that something is wrong. A Stoic understands that trust isn't a switch you can just flip on command. It's not about words, it's about actions. True trust is earned through consistent, reliable, and honest behavior over time. It's the result of a person's character being in alignment with their promises. So, when someone demands your trust with this question, remember this. A trustworthy person doesn't need to ask if you trust them. Their actions speak for themselves. You don't owe anyone blind trust. You owe yourself the wisdom to observe their actions, and let that be your guide. Here's another one that aims to shame you into silence. Why would I lie to you? This question is a deflection. It's designed to make you feel foolish and paranoid for even suspecting them of dishonesty. It implies that their character is so unimpeachable that the very idea of them lying is absurd. But think about it from a Stoic perspective. Honesty is a virtue. It's a fundamental part of a good character. People who are genuinely honest don't need to constantly announce it or defend it. Their life is their proof. This question is a red flag because it's a performance of honesty, not the real thing. It's a way to shut down your inquiry without actually providing any answers. Instead of getting tangled in their theatrical display of hurt innocence, simply observe the facts. Does their story add up? Are their actions consistent with their words? An honest person welcomes questions because they have nothing to hide. A manipulator resents them because questions threaten to expose the truth. Don't be shamed out of your right to clarity. Then there's the classic escape route for those who want to avoid accountability. Why can't you just let it go? This is a favorite of manipulators who want to move on from something they did wrong without ever having to apologize or make amends. They frame your hurt as a stubborn refusal to move forward. They portray your pain not as a valid consequence of their actions, but as a flaw in your character. They want you to believe that holding onto your pain is the problem. But the Stoics teach us that we shouldn't run from difficult emotions. Pain, grief, and anger are part of the human experience. They are also part of the healing process. You can't just let go of a deep wound as if it were a trivial matter. It needs to be acknowledged, processed, and understood. Forcing yourself to let it go before you're ready is a form of self-betrayal. When someone tells you to just let it go, what they're really saying is, "Your feelings are inconvenient for me. Please stop making me feel bad about what I did." True healing happens on your timeline, not theirs. It requires facing the pain, not pretending it doesn't exist. Now let's talk about role reversal. This happens when a manipulator flips the script so completely that you end up feeling guilty for speaking your truth. The go-to question for this is, why do you always make everything about yourself? You bring up a valid concern, you express your feelings about how their actions affected you, and suddenly you're accused of being selfish, narcissistic, and self-centered. This is a brilliant and brutal tactic because it attacks your very motive for speaking up. It makes you question whether your desire for respect and understanding is just a form of self-obsession. But from a Stoic viewpoint, self-awareness is not selfishness. Understanding your own emotions, needs, and boundaries is the foundation of a virtuous life. It is impossible to engage with the world in a healthy way if you don't first understand yourself. When you speak your truth, you're not making it all about you. You're contributing your essential part of the relational equation. A healthy relationship involves two people who can both express their perspectives. When someone accuses you of being selfish for doing just that, it's often because they are unwilling to look at their own role in the dynamic. Finally, we have the weapon of moral deflection. Do you really think you're perfect? This is a classic whataboutism tactic. You point out a specific concrete issue, and instead of addressing it, the manipulator broadens the argument to be about your overall character. They imply that because you're not perfect, you have no right to criticize them. It's a way to invalidate your point without ever having to engage with it. The goal is to make you feel like a hypocrite. But a Stoic knows that the pursuit of virtue isn't about achieving some mythical state of perfection. It's about striving for progress, not perfection. It's about being honest and clear-headed in the present moment. You don't need to be perfect to point out that someone's behavior was hurtful or wrong. You don't need a flawless record to ask for respect. Clarity doesn't require perfection. It only requires honesty. When someone uses this line, don't take the bait. Don't get drawn into a debate about your own imperfections. Gently bring the conversation back to the specific issue at hand. Your imperfection doesn't give them a free pass. So, how do we put this all together? How do we build that Stoic shield? It comes down to a simple three-step process. First, observe without reacting. When you hear one of these manipulative questions, the first instinct is to get emotional, to get defensive, angry, or flustered. The Stoic trains to pause, to take a breath and simply observe what is happening. See the question for what it is, a tactic, a strategy. Don't let it hook your emotions immediately. Second, name the tactic. In your own mind, Identify what they're doing. Say to yourself, this is gaslighting, or this is emotional blackmail, or this is role reversal. By naming it, you strip it of its power. It's no longer a confusing, overwhelming emotional assault. It's a predictable pattern that you can see clearly. And third, respond with silence or with simple truth, not with emotion. Sometimes, the most powerful response is no response at all. Your silence can be a wall they cannot penetrate. Other times, a simple, calm statement of fact is all that's needed. To, "Are you sure that happened?" you can say, "Yes, I am sure." To, "Don't you trust me?" you can say, "Trust is based on actions." You don't need to justify, argue, or explain. You simply state your reality. Ultimately, the greatest weapon in the Stoic arsenal is awareness. A mind that is calm, firm in its reason, and dedicated to virtue becomes an untouchable fortress. Manipulators thrive in the fog of confusion, doubt, and emotional chaos. They lose all their power when they come up against the bright light of a clear and steady mind. This isn't about being cold or unfeeling. It's about choosing where to place your energy. It's about refusing to play a game where the rules are designed for you to lose. It's about protecting your inner peace, your ataraxia, as the Stoics would say. It's about honoring your own perception, your own feelings, and your own reality. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the heart of Stoic resilience. If this video helped you see things more clearly, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content on philosophy for modern life. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these manipulative questions have you encountered, and how did you handle it? Your story could help someone else who's going through the same thing. Stay strong, stay aware, and I'll see you in the next video.